Welcome to the Live Unrestricted podcast. Today, you're going to hear the story of someone who has been struggling with food and body image since she's a teenager, was brought to a dietitian by her mom when she was under 15 years old, and she learned how to come back home to being an intuitive eater, overcome years of body hatred, emotional eating, self-loathing, even went through a period of deep depression, and is now living her best life. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Live Unrestricted podcast, a show where you'll learn how to heal your relationship with food and your body so that you can focus your time and energy on more important things like your personal growth. I'm your host, Sabrina Magna, food freedom coach, and my mission is to help make your life happier and healthier without stress, overwhelm, or guilt about food. If you love the show, please do go out and share it. And if you're looking for support with your relationship with food, details about my programs are in the show notes. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's jump in. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so grateful that you're here because we have a really special episode for you today. I'm bringing to you a conversation with someone who just went through the entire process of learning how to become an intuitive eater. Nastaran was someone, and you're going to hear her story, so I don't want to give too much away, but she is someone who spent her entire life thinking there was something wrong with her body, being told there was something wrong with her body, constantly dieting to try to fix it, emotionally eating and having a hard time navigating negative emotions without turning to food, binge eating, feeling hopeless and feeling like this is who she was going to be for the rest of her life. And it has been a true honor and pleasure seeing how much she has transformed over the past few months. And the reason why it's so powerful to hear other people's stories is because whenever I'm working on a goal, whether it's mindset or my business or my relationships, and I hear stories of other people who have achieved it, I love to see myself in them. I love to see someone who has a similar story to me, who has overcome some of the same obstacles that I'm trying to overcome, because I want to know that it's possible. And I want to know what they did, what they thought, how they felt in order to overcome those obstacles that might feel really hard for me at the moment. My subconscious, my ego, that scared version of me that's hiding deep in my subconscious mind, it needs evidence. It needs proof that this is possible. And unless I've gone through it myself already, I don't have that. I don't have that proof and that evidence. So the only thing I can do is borrow it from other people. And I always think, well, if they can do it, then why can't I? What makes them different from me? And usually the answer is nothing. And so this is really to help show you if there is that piece of you, that part of you that's thinking, I love the idea of having food freedom. I love the idea of living a life where food is not this source of anxiety and guilt and obsession, but there's this part of you deep down that is so scared. And you probably know from my past episode that the only thing standing in the way of you achieving that life is that fear. Then I have no doubt that by listening to Nastaran's story, not only are you going to have more proof, more evidence of what's possible for you too, but it's also going to help calm that part of you, that ego, subconscious part of you that's really scared, and motivate you to not only just have the knowledge of what you quote unquote should do, but actually implement it and integrate it into your life, especially if it feels a little uncomfortable and foreign. So without further ado, let's play that episode with the incredible Nastaran. Thank you so much for being here, Nastaran. I am really looking forward to you just sharing your story and truly the massive transformation that you've had in just the past 3 months. Like, I feel like I'm talking to a different person. So I would just love to start off by having you share a little bit about where you were before you joined Food Freedom Academy in terms of like your relationship with food and your body and what had been all the different things that you had tried in the past.
I can start with maybe my childhood when I was very different in our home because everyone was just thin and small, and I was the only big one. And my parents were so proud of me being tall, but there were some comments about, okay, you should be just careful about how much you eat because if you get fat, I don't know, the image just became clear in my mind. So tall is good, fat is bad. I think I believed that something was wrong with my body because I wasn't thin. So I remember that first time my mom took me to the dietitian with herself, and he simply didn't give me any diet because I was so young and I wasn't even overweight. But I could see in my mom's eyes that, there is a problem. So I was in high school, I think 14 maybe
Wow.
or 15. Yeah, yeah. So he didn't give me any diets, but I started to eat less from that time. And then I went to another country for university. It was in Istanbul, my university. It was an amazing city with so delicious food. And everything changed in my body. My body started to change so quickly because I was sad and emotional to be far from my family for the first time. And I started to binge on food. I remember that I started to eat a lot when I was sad because I was so proud and I didn't want to show my feelings, and I didn't want to tell anyone that I'm sad or I miss my family. So I started to eat a lot more than my home country. And I gained so much weight in that time. And that's when I started to just look for diets. And yeah, the yo yo dieting started in my university years. I remember that when I was exercising, I was dieting at the same time. So it means you have less energy, but forcing your body to do more. So it doesn't make any sense to do that to your
Yeah.
body. But back then, I didn't know that. Then I went back to my country again. And I remember that in Istanbul, I found a dietitian that she gave me a very strict diet. I remember my first week was like eating 2 eggs in the morning, I don't know, 2 eggs in the evening, and in between some salad. It was unbelievable. And I was in that kind of so strict diet. I was vegetarian as well in that time. So there were no food that I could eat. And I was in that diet for more than 2 years. And I lost like, I don't remember, maybe 20 kilograms or something. I was so thin, and I was the same way as my before high school years. So I was
Wow.
thinking, okay, that's the perfect body. I'm happy. And I went back to my country for some work, and there I realized that okay, I if I want to keep that body, I need to starve myself 4 years a week, and I can eat 3 days, and it was like crazy. And I did that for 6 months. I was starving my body. I didn't eat any dinner for, I don't know, most of the days. And I started to just lose some friends because I didn't want to go to restaurants. And after a while, I found a boyfriend, and we were so happy. So I started to eat, and again I gained the weight, and then I felt bad about myself. And it was the same things was happening again. And then I came to Finland. I got married, and we came to Finland. And the same thing that happened in university years started to happening here as well, because I was sad a bit. I missed my family, and I didn't know anything about the future. I wasn't feeling so safe. So I started to eat again. And I gained so much weight. And again, I was so sad and so tired all the time. So that's when I went to our occupational nurse here, and I was remembering that telling her about my story that, okay, I hate my body, I need a new diet. And she wasn't believing that. How do you need a dietitian? So you're sad, you have problems. I understand you feel depressed, but okay, let's book a psychologist. And that's when I understood, okay, there's nothing wrong with my body. Maybe there's something here that I need to fix. I need to work on my mind and mindset. And that was the start of my journey of healing. I realized that, okay, there are many things that I need to work on. It's not just diet doesn't work. It was the first time that I realized, okay, if I'm going to just, starve my body that much, do I really want to continue living like this? My answer was no, because I was missing all the good food. It was just so exhausting for me. It was the first time that I realized I need to just change the way, not doing the diet again. And I knew that I need some change.
You needed something different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you grew up in a family where you immediately got the message that tall and thin is better, and that being in a bigger body means there's something wrong. Your mom literally brought you to a dietitian when you were a teenager. So that's when your brain is still forming. So you got the message at a very, very young age. There is something wrong with my body. There's something I need to do to fix it. And then when you went to university, you probably had never really learned healthy coping skills. And all you knew is, okay, well, I'm just going to turn to food. Food is my comfort. Food is my soothing mechanism. And because you already had such an unhealthy relationship with your body, when you started seeing yourself gaining weight, it probably created a lot of stress and anxiety because your worth was associated to how your body looks. Everyone, when they've had kind of their yo-yo diet journey, comes to a point where they hit their breaking point. They hit their rock bottom. For some, it happens earlier on in life. For some, it happens in their 40s or 50s. And some people end up deciding to live in that breaking point, to live in that rock bottom for the rest of their life because they are still convinced that their worth and their happiness and their confidence lies in a certain body type. So I will just make myself miserable. I will do all these diets that really stop me from fully living my life, hoping that at least I'll get a certain body out of it. And for you, you mentioned that your turning point was when you went to see, was it a dietitian or a nutritionist?
No, it was our occupational nurse in
Oh, right.
Finland. We have that, yeah, and we can talk to them when we feel something is wrong. And I booked time from her. Something happened when I was in a meeting in my workplace. They were talking about something serious, and I'm so focused on my work. I'm just so hard worker. And I realized that, okay, I found myself searching for a diet app in the middle of the meeting in my phone. And in that moment, I understood, okay, I don't want to live like this anymore. I need some help. And in that time, I didn't know what is that help. So I went for seeing another dietitian probably. But in that point, I knew that I need help, that I can't live like this. It's like an obsession. I'm in the middle of the meeting and I'm searching for a new diet. What is that?
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the most important
It's
point.
so interesting because for me, it was very similar. I was at my sister's baby shower and I had just binged and we were all opening the presents, and there's literally a picture of me sitting next to her and I'm looking down at my phone, and it looks like I'm just like smiling, texting someone, but really I was on my Fitness Pal, like writing everything that I had just eaten. And I look back on that picture and I think, oh my God, I feel so sad for that past version of me. And I remember that night thinking, wow, what am I doing? Like, this is not what it means to live a healthy and happy life. And you mentioned you didn't know what support you needed. And I think that's a really important piece. I don't think a lot of people know what kind of support that they do need, because we live in a world where everyone is just telling you what you should be eating. There's dietitians, there's nutritionists, there's health, wellness gurus, but not many of us are talking about what is going on underneath the surface. And I love to see that more coaches and intuitive eating dietitians are coming out to talk about the importance of your relationship with food. Did you even know the terms relationship with food? Did you know what that meant?
No, no, nothing. I just knew that I hate my body. I was just telling that to everyone. And I told that to my psychologist. And he was like shocked that, wow, he was looking at me and I have a normal body. And he was like, what's wrong? Why are you using that harsh sentence? Yeah, he told me that I need to journal. For the first time, I was going to journal for a doctor. And I just wrote every day journal for him for 2 weeks. And when I showed him my journal, he was shocked that there is not a single feeling in that journal. It's like I woke up, I did that, I did that. What am I going to do with that? Why are you not telling anything about your feelings? And then I understood, okay, now I know what I should work on. And yeah, he told me that you need more information about the body image issues. And that's how I started to search in internet and look for better help.
Yeah. So when did you start looking and researching for support on body image issues and your relationship with food? How long ago was that?
It was about, I think, 1 year ago. I was searching and not finding anything. I wasn't familiar with intuitive eating, and I was just trying to find some stuff. And one day, my husband sent me Instagram post from some Iranian girl. She is an intuitive coach, and I read the post and I was crying like hell because it was my story basically. And I am so thankful to my husband because I didn't find that thing. And then I knew that I need some help like that. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. I had so much fear. And then I started to search more, and I wanted to find someone that I feel comfortable and I can trust. So I found your podcast and I started to listen to it. And I followed you on Instagram, and that was when we talked and my journey somehow started. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
And I remember when we first had our initial call together, you were so sad. You were so sad and you were so hard on yourself and you had no confidence and you had a lot of fear, and part of you was feeling hopeless, and you knew that you needed to make a change. And it was really at that point that you were like, I have nowhere else to go. Like, I need to do something about this. And you mentioned that you researched a lot and you really wanted to find some person, something that really you trusted, because that's huge. Like, when you're about to tackle a big issue like your relationship with food and your body, it's super vulnerable. It's looking at things that you haven't looked at, and you need to do it in an environment where you feel supported and you feel like you can trust the space. So what was it about Food Freedom Academy and working with me that something deep inside was like, this is it. This is what I need. This is what I trust.
Yeah, when I was researching, internet is a very dangerous place because when you start to look for some stuff, you feel that, okay, I know all this stuff. I read all of this, I read these books, and why I am not able to just believe on these things inside me. You feel that you know that you shouldn't feel like this, but it's not working like that. And
Yeah.
you always feel that inside you, very very deep inside you. I was trying to do some exercises, for example, looking at the mirror and try to love myself, but it wasn't working. I was so confused and so frustrated. Why I'm not able to do that? I know that I should do that. And when you sent a message to me in Instagram that, okay, in which fields I can help you, I really felt like my big sister is writing to me. That sentence just got into me. And you were like, okay, I told you that I had so many books and I have so much information. And you told me that, okay, I know it's not like that. You have so many information, but you need some help. It's not easy. So that kind of talking, and it was like a therapy for me. And I knew that I need someone like that. Yeah, I was in a trip, and just reading that messages just made me feel so good, and I knew that I can trust you with that.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is like you said, the internet is a beautiful but also confusing place because there is so much free information out there. There is podcasts and there's books and there's social media and there's accounts, and you can get in the trap of thinking that you have all the knowledge. So therefore, you have everything that you need to change. And if all you needed was more information, if all you needed more knowledge, everyone would be able to solve everything because you have a problem with your relationship, there's podcasts for it. You have a problem with your relationship with money, there's a podcast for it. And yet so many people still struggle with all of these issues. And so there's this massive like disconnect and this illusion that I know what I should be doing. So all I need to do is learn more. And I've fallen into that trap as well. And what was it that you learned once you started doing the program? Like when it comes to looking back on it, hindsight 2020, and you see, okay, well, I had all of this knowledge, but it wasn't working and I wasn't able to apply it. What do you think was the disconnect? Like, what was the biggest middle piece that helped you take what you needed to learn and put it into practice so that you can now talk to me from literally this new point where you are a different person? What was that middle thing that you needed?
I think the biggest thing was, okay, you have some information, but you need to do some exercises. It wasn't like a diet system that you have some points, okay, do this, and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it was helping me changing my mindset and understanding how my brain works. And that is an amazing thing. I was so excited in first weeks when I understood how that works, that I wasn't thinking about food and my body and anything. I was trying to just do those exercises to my other field of my work and my my behaviors, and I was teaching that to my husband. I was so excited about it, that wow, I now I have that ability that I can just change how I what I believe, and I have that power. That it was a very very powerful feeling for me. And it was like, yes, that's what I need to just know how my brain work, and I need to just tweak that.
Yeah.
That's inside me, and I know it's there, but I didn't know how to use that tools to just get into it.
And that's the thing is like we're all born with this super powered computer in our mind, in our head, and we are never taught we're never given the instruction manual on how to use it. I personally believe that this is intentional because if people were taught this in school, then so many people would have independence. They would be able to not be controlled by other people, by the government, by people in power, by patriarchy. And so I do think it's intentional that we are taught the freaking Pythagorean concepts in high school, but we're not taught how to use our brains. And when I first learned about how your brain works and your thought processes, and most importantly, the fact that you have full control and power over the thoughts that you have and the future that you create, it was kind of like it was almost as if these glasses had been taken off and I was seeing the world so differently and so clearly. And it was learning about how that works. I knew, why doesn't everyone know this? Like, everyone needs to know this. And that's why, as you know, just in the first few weeks of the program, you learned so much about the way that your brain works, because once you can have power over this supercomputer in your brain, how has it impacted? We'll start with your relationship with food and your body, like all of the things that you learned. And of course, we don't just talk about the brain inside the academy, but what are some of the biggest changes that you've been able to make in your life in just the past 3 months?
Oh, I don't know which ones should I say. I changed a lot. When I started this program, I was suffering from a very deep depression. I every morning I would just wake up and tell, okay, why should I wake up? I had no meaning in life, and I didn't know how to help myself because I was seeing people just living their lives and being happy. And I was so sad. As you mentioned, I was so sad. I had no hope. And then I realized, okay, I have some tools that I can change that. I don't have to think about the meaninglessness of life every morning. I can give my brain some more useful task that really, is beneficial for me, and change that mindset, and it's turned me to a happy girl. It is amazing. I don't know how to thank you for that, because I was so depressed. Life was so meaningless for me, and I had everything, but I couldn't just be happy. And now that I know that, okay, it's inside my brain and it's nothing, situation could change, people around me could change, but I have just me and I need to help myself. So that was the biggest thing. And the second thing that changed in me, it's like I was apologizing for everything, and I was ashamed of myself, and I had no self confidence. But now I'm just doing my work and I'm not apologizing for anything. Of course, if I make mistake, I apologize, but I'm not just overdoing it.
Yeah.
And I forgive people for what they do because I know that they have those struggles in their mind. So simply people, I said that to you already, but my friends take notes when they talk to me. So it's like I am the wise person that just have this knowledge. But those are so simple, but very useful and very critical. That's amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you think about one of the biggest reasons why people turn to food is to cover up something that's going on deeper. And for you, you probably turned to food and I know that you were struggling with binge eating before you started the program. And it was because like you had no other joy in your life. It was the only thing that would bring you joy, at least even just temporarily before all of the feelings of guilt and shame would creep in. And changing the way that you view the world and changing the way you think about yourself, it means everything, because now How would you describe, I know you made like some massive leaps and bounds when it comes to your relationship with food and your relationship with exercise as well. What does that look like for you now?
Oh, now I don't even think about food. I just wake up in the morning, I eat whatever I want. First weeks was like everyday Nutella, it was like I was obsessed and I was concerned, okay, is it going to stick with me? Am I going to be a Nutella person? But now I have one Nutella in my closet and it's been maybe, I don't know, more than 1 month that I didn't even look at it. So every morning I need something different. And that's so amazing because, that gives your life more color when you have choices and you can listen to your body and choose, okay, what's today's food? It's not like I have to eat this for the rest of my life, but I have so many choices and I can choose and I can eat as much as I want. If I want to eat something, I'm not that hungry, I can just eat a little bit and just be very satisfied.
Mhm.
And also with the exercise, I realized that my favorite kind of movement is walking. So today I received my walking pad for the
Yay!
winter. Yeah, that's amazing. Right now we have the sun and I can go out every day. But I started from 10 minutes walk after lunch and now I made it like 20 and it's going really well. I feel more energized. Feel very happy. Last week, my husband told me that you are a different person. I cannot believe you changed a lot. You are smiling all the time, and you are not tired anymore. And I'm the energetic person that I wanted to be. That's so good.
Wow. Oh my God. That actually like brings tears to my eyes because this is possible for anyone. Like you now know how the brain works, and I'm sure that you're seeing some of your friends now, and maybe you want to shake them and you want to put everything that you know into their brains because it's like this is possible for absolutely anyone. And I'm sure that if you had talked to yourself 4 months ago, you wouldn't have believed the person you are now. Like, there's no point of your mind that would be able to imagine how far you've come.
I tried to just give those information to people, but it doesn't work. Yeah, it's I cannot do that because they need to just have someone that is professional and can help them. I really recommend to everyone if they have this kind of problem, they should try your program because I don't know about the other programs, but you were like doing this therapy. Maybe you don't know about
Yeah.
the therapy part, but it was a therapy for me. And I have some sad days. I realized that you cannot just have choose one emotion and say, okay, I'm going to be happy. You cannot
That's
choose
not
that. You
human.
need
That's not the
no,
human
no, no.
experience.
Yeah, and if you choose to not feel sad, you cannot feel happy.
Mhm.
So you need to just let your body experience everything. I didn't know that I can have many, complex feelings at the same time before. I was like, okay, I'm sad or I'm happy. But now when I try to understand, okay, how am I feeling? I'm like, okay, I'm happy because this and this, and I'm a bit sad, I'm a bit tired, but I'm hopeful. And
Mhm.
it's like I can see myself better. And I'm not, fantasizing about to be happy for the rest of my life. It's not normal. I
No.
need to just accept how I'm feeling, and that feels so good. And when you can see that those feelings, you can help yourself better. Okay, if you know that you're tired, if you can see that, you can just go and sleep instead of just binging over food or just
Yeah.
crying when you're hungry, just go and
Mhm.
eat. Why are you crying? That's so important to understand those feelings.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I have a full training on feeling negative emotions. And in that training, I talk about you will, as a human being living a human experience about 50% negative emotions and 50% positive emotions. And I know for me, I remember being in Italy when I had my eating disorder and feeling so numb, because if you numb yourself from negative emotions, you also numb yourself from feeling positive emotions. And now I'm so in tuned with all of those different variations that I feel inside of me that I notice, all right, today I'm going to be a little bit more sad, like, or more anxious, and today's going to be a good day. And you now have the tools to be able to navigate those uncomfortable emotions without needing to run away from them or numb yourself or distract yourself from them through food. And the last thing I would ask you is, like, for anyone who is at that point where they feel hopeless and they have this belief, I can't change. I'm going to be like this forever. You don't know me, Nastaran. I have been struggling with this for my entire life. I failed so much. There's no hope for me. What would you say to those people?
Well, I would say that you cannot hope for a, very quick fix with some pills that, okay, I will do that and in 2 days I'm gonna fix that.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone should just see the life as a big journey that when you want to just go on a journey, you need to plan. So this program was, I'm not completely healed. I'm not gonna lie to people. I right now it's like, okay, you learned how to swim, and it's not like, okay, I learned it, so but no, it's like you are going to swim for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels for me like now I know how to live my life without feeling those frustration. And I think everyone should see this program like a plan for the rest of your life, a very good plan that just you can trust.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do your homework,
Yeah.
yeah, that's very important. If you really just take your time, and it's not a stressful journey at all, it was all joyful for me. And you will learn some tools that will help you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned, like, none of us will ever be completely healed. I was telling you guys inside the program how I went on a Arizona trip last month, and I felt like I went into it, and people who listen to my podcast probably think like, oh, Sabrina's got it all together and she doesn't struggle with anything, which is like, that's not the human experience. Everyone struggles with some kind of limiting beliefs and things, baggage from their past. And I went on this Arizona trip and I shed so many layers that I didn't even know were there. And every time that you make progress and you kind of move up that next level of healing, it's like, all right, what else do I have to discover about myself? What else do I get to work on and do I get to let go of? And for you, I think the biggest thing you're saying is like, now you have the tools to know how to let go of them, and you know how to continue on your growth journey. And it's so exciting to see. Like, I'm so excited to see how far you go now. You were talking about applying for promotions at work. Like, there's just so much ahead of you now. So, any final last words that you would have to share before we wrap this up?
Yeah, something very, very good that I learned from this program. I want to share this because it makes me so excited. When when I wake up in the morning and I'm in a pain, for example, I have a back pain, so or I'm going to have my period, so I know that it's going to be painful. Uh, Before I would just become like sad and miserable and turn to food probably and then feel guilty. But now, when I know that day is going to be painful, I get excited because I have a list of the things that I know that makes me feel good. And it's like, yay, it's that day. I'm going to do this and this. And it it is going to change your life. It is so amazing. And you never get frustrated of not knowing what's going on. You always know what's going on. And learning that is the most important and valuable thing I got. Yes.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing everything that has been so valuable for you, because I know that all of the listeners are going to be able to, I hope that they're taking notes, because you shared so many important pieces of wisdom that they can take away as well. Thank you so much, Nastaran, for sharing your story, for being here and being such an amazing member inside the Academy.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you found it valuable, I would love if you would share it with someone you know that could benefit. If you're loving the show, don't forget to subscribe over on Apple Podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. I really love hearing feedback from you, so please leave a rating and review over on Apple to help us get in the ears of more people who need it the most. Finally, come hang out with me on Instagram at Sabrina Magna Health for more educational content and get up close and personal with me. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode.